This caught my eye over the weekend. ESPN Stephen A. Smith has been labeled, quote, the angry black man by a network producer in a confidential interview. First and foremost, who the hell are these confidential interview people? I know who they are, but damn, buyer beware. You're sitting there and all of a sudden someone's taping you and you're just chatting. You're trying to impress a gal by talking about your life at ESPN. Man, and she's taping you. Next thing you know, you got a problem at ESPN. So anyway, you go in there, you have a little lunch, maybe a cup of coffee, and the guy, is taping you. Man, that's nefarious. That should be outlawed, but it's not. All right, the employee claims that Stephen A. Smith expresses political opinions that go unnoticed and unappreciated. Many believe that Stephen A. Smith is facing the consequences for his actions. Yeah? What consequences are those? $20 million a year? Just announced yesterday, Smith did that. Well, I hate being a politician, but I've got to put an end to this mess. Oh, shut up. Shut up. Yelling and screaming and ranting and raving and acting like an idiot isn't putting an end to anything. It's increasing the mess, particularly when you don't know what the hell you're talking about. Guy's name is Ryan Bertrand. I don't know Ryan Bertrand. I worked at ESPN. I was there almost every week for a while, and then I'd do games remotely. So I don't know if I remember Ryan Bertrand, but he's a producer there who got caught with his proverbial shorts down trying to get well in a girl's pants. We have this one guy. His name is Stephen A. Smith. He plays the angry black man on TV. So I would disagree with Ryan Bertrand there. I don't think that. Well, these guys would know better than me, but I don't think he plays it. I don't think he's angry. I think that's his persona. I mean, maybe he comes across as angry, but hell, everybody's got their own persona. 350 million people in this country. What the hell? Was everybody supposed to be stoic? Everybody supposed to be the same? Oh, hell no. Stephen A. Smith, I think, is authentically fake. What do I mean by that? Much of his takes are authentic, and then there's a phoniness to it and the whole preacher thing and yelling and screaming and all that kind of thing that I actually have too, so I respect it. He plays the angry black man stereotype. All right, here it is. We have this one guy's name is Stephen A. Smith. He plays the angry black man on TV. The angry black man stereotype is basically you're loud, you talk over people. Well, that's true, but that's white guys too. I mean, all you got to do, have you ever not listened to a set pre, post, halftime? I mean, that ain't just anybody. That's everybody on a set. What you say is not necessarily important. It's how loud you are and how you deliver your speech. Does that pretty well. I think the higher-ups at ESPN and Disney see that he's like the angry black man. Ryan Bertrand said, Ryan Bertrand will be out of a job soon. As soon as his contract is up, it'll be gone. He ain't getting extended, let's put it that way. He goes on Fox News probably like once a week, and he'll talk about like Gaza. And he has no idea about Gaza, talking about like his views on Gaza. And we're like, brother, you were just talking about the Lakers 3 hours ago. What do you know about Gaza? Now, that's stupid by Bertrand. Just because you're talking about the Lakers on a show doesn't mean you can't talk about something politically the next moment. I remember I saw that, and that's just dumb. That's just really dumb. Yeah, he's a grifter. That's a good way to put it, very much. Whoever's buying my bullshit, I will sell you my bullshit. Well, maybe so. I'll defend Smith here. I'll always defend people from guys going out and acting like big shots to prop up themselves. You kids call it clout. Clout chasing is a big deal. So this dude is talking to whomever, and he's clout chasing. Yeah, we got this guy. He doesn't know shit. I know more, blah, 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 blah. Here's Smith's response. Well, no disrespect, but at ESPN, I'm on top of the heap. I've been in this business for 30 years. You think I'm going to worry about what some new beginner is sitting there chirping about? I could care less, not even a little bit. Most importantly, as I've told you in the past, people are going to hate. People are going to come for you. And the higher you climb, the more you're exposed. And they're going to try to pull you down. Hey, he's right about that. He's 100% right about that. Stephen A. Smith's an easy target. And we go at him. We should. Because sometimes when he's full of shit or he's being overtly racist, it's our job. We cover the woke news. But some guy going out there as a producer and getting taped. Look, two things. One, Smith does care. He seems to care a lot, but I don't blame him for kind of being dismissive of this one, too. This guy, Bertrand, he's going to be out on his ass if he isn't already. And he should be. I mean, look, one time I'm sitting in a kiosk, and my producer is in the next kiosk, and he's talking to another guy, and they don't know I'm there. What do you call it? My little cubicle. And my producer starts talking, and not in the best way about me. Not about me personally, but how he has to keep me from hurting myself. He didn't do shit. He was a little Weasley guy. And I looked up, I go, you guys didn't know I was here, did you? I mean, and I didn't say a word, and I just walked out. First thing in the morning, Dan, I'm so sorry. But you know what? Better to know than not to know. You know what I'm saying? You got to know who the people around you are. Let me take that back to basketball. See, Calvin Sampson hired a bunch of people at different times, went into Indiana, hired a bunch of people. And when he was, and I assume he still is, a cheating no-good dirtbag, those of us that weren't cheating no-good dirtbags didn't really like working for him. So Calvin Sampson decided, I'm going to keep everything in-house. I'm going to hire my son. My daughter's going to be director of operation. My wife's going to be involved. My former players that I trust are going to be on my staff. That's smart. If you're capable or able to do that in business, that's what you do. He didn't need me, Calvin Sampson, to coach at Houston. Didn't need me after the fact going, yeah, you thought you got over on me back in the day. Well, let me get over on you now. That's just my nature. Not saying it's right, and I have for the last 15 years, calling him as I just called him, a cheating dirtbag. But anyway, I would, were I Stephen A. Smith, not hire anybody, not have anybody around me that is like this Bertrand guy. Somebody I don't know. Somebody that has a big mouth. Somebody that isn't afraid to go out and show that he has a big mouth. It's really important if you think about it because everybody wants to talk. Everybody's clout chasing. You want clout in Indiana? Put my name in a tweet. Put my name in a tweet hateful, and it'll get you all the little clout you want. I mean, that's what people do. You work for what? ESPN? Tell me about it. Well, we got this guy, Stephen A. Smith. That's a lesson for you kids out there as you grow in business. Surround yourself with only people that you trust, and don't trust an outsider if you don't have to. Hey, guy comes in for a job interview. I really like that guy. Yeah? If I ever went back into coaching, and at my age, it ain't going to happen, but if I ever did, I would hire people with a lot less basketball experience and a lot more trust that I didn't have to worry about. I always told Lee if she went back into coaching, I don't care, I'd be her director of ops. You can 100% trust me. I'm not afraid of confrontation. I'm pretty organized when it comes to important things. That's important. No, it really is. And Stephen A. Smith has to deal with some little clown who's trying to be a clout chaser. Don't chase clout. Chase excellence. Don't chase clout. Don't chase clicks. Chase greatness. That's what we do every day here. People say, well, you're just about clicks. I don't care about clicks. I mean, I like when I get a 5 o'clock call and Nick and I, and we're like, hey, that show's doing really good. But as I sit here right now, I'm not trying to figure out what gets the most clicks. I'm trying to figure out how to give you the greatest content. That's what you're supposed to do in life. What do I always tell you? If you raise the bar, people will reach it. If you lower the bar, people will reach it. So don't hire clowns like this Bertrand guy. In fact, I'm sure ESPN is already in the works of doing it. Fire clowns like this Bertrand guy that you can't trust. People that work with you, people that work around you, you got to be able to trust them in public. It's a very small world. It's a world where everyone's talking. It's a world where everyone knows everybody else's business if everybody wants to learn about the other people's business. This guy Bertrand's a weasel. Absolute weasel. Of course Stephen A. Smith cares. Of course he does. And everybody knows whether Bertrand, well, not everybody knows, but if you think Bertrand's right, if you think Bertrand's wrong, good. Either way. But he's a freaking weasel. Deserves to be fired. Maybe he'll learn a lesson, go somewhere else and be great. Don't know. All right. Last night, it was a good game. I know people were complaining, and rightfully so. They were comparing it to UConn back in the day against Butler, where neither team could make a basket. But I got to tell you, in all my time watching the Final Four, that was the best environment for any championship game that I've seen. What do I mean by that? Whatever CBS did to bring the crowd in was excellent. Whatever San Antonio did was make the place intimate was excellent. Whatever the producer did to show the fans at the game, not somewhere over in Houston or back in Gainesville where they partied and got naked and got crazy. No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the game. It looked like a home game for both teams, and that's impossible to do. So congratulations to all. That was excellent. Excellent. I mean, I could do without, and you got to do this when you work with Raftery, the constant little East Coast Irish jabs that everybody's got to giggle to. And that's fine, but that's different than the game itself. So first, before we get into the actual game, which was a great game, congratulations to everybody involved. That was terrific. I didn't watch halftime. I flipped over to Desperate Housewives. My wife and I are in the middle of it, so I don't know what Charles and Kenny et al. Had to say. But I thought the game presentation itself, outstanding. All right, Gators got down 12. There's no quitting them. They came back from 12 in the second half against the best defensive team in America that was playing its ass off. Make no mistake, Calvin Sampson and Todd Golden's team played their ass off and ended up getting a great defensive stand, which I'll get to in a moment, in the last seconds to eke out a 65-63 win, and covered, by the way, and bring another national championship trophy back to Gainesville. Gainesville's now got 3, 2 under Billy Donovan. Gainesville and Florida, this drives me nuts, since 1994 have been to 10 Elite Eights, have won 3 national championships. My Indiana Hoosiers, in the history of Indiana, going back to the start of the tournament in 1939, have been to 11 Elite Eights, going back to 1939, and we think we're a basketball school. Bah! Is a 4th comeback win in this tournament alone for Florida. This happens every tournament. It feels like there's always a game you should lose. It feels like, man, we got lucky. Remember going back a week ago when Texas Tech had like a 95 probability rate to win the game, or 91 against Florida, and Florida came storming back and won? Man, that's how close this tournament is. Well, they say it's idiot-proof, it's idiot-proof. They won despite Walter Clayton being totally shook early. They took Walter Clayton out of everything. Now, Clayton ended up with 11, which is pretty good, all in the second half. He went 3 for 10 from the field, but more importantly, Walter Clayton, the point guard, the defense by Houston took them out of everything. And I mean everything. I always say this to you, and I hope you've learned over the years. It's not a matter of stopping somebody completely on defense in basketball. It's a matter of making the opponent, your opponent, the offensive team, so uncomfortable that wide open looks don't go in. And that's exactly what Houston did for the most part of the game. Now, we told you in a clip yesterday, we told you that this was going to come down. Almost predicted this game entirely. They double-teamed Golden. They never left him. They did all the things I told you and still lost. Why? Well, they couldn't get a shot up at the end. I told you it was going to come down to something like that. I like when I can tell you. Florida led this game for 1 minute and 3 seconds. 1 minute, 3 seconds. They didn't lead until the end after leading 8-6 early. Wow. Holy cow. When they were leading 8-6, I was dumb enough to live bet Florida. I did. I live bet them. I thought, they're better. Well, I didn't think they were better for about the next 35 minutes. And then, all hell broke loose. Friend of the show, Todd Golden, becomes the youngest head coach at 39 to win a natty since the tournament expanded in 1985. Let's hear from Todd Golden.
To do that. And Billy Donovan was the youngest before you.
I'm super proud, obviously. But I'm just a piece of this puzzle, I've been able to put together incredible staff and recruit great student athletes over these last 3 years. And, we've stayed the course all year and worked really hard. And, my best answer is I'm just really proud. I'm proud to be the head coach of Florida. I'm proud of the way our players performed, and I'm proud of the way our staff prepared our guys to become national champions.
That's pretty good, man. 39 years old, that's the youngest. Either I'm getting so old that everybody looks really young, or Todd Golden looks really young. And I think Todd Golden looks really, really young. Here's Calvin Sampson on the last 2 possessions.
Just what's going through your mind right now? Big picture.
Yeah, I'm just going through those last 2 possessions more than anything else. You know, it's incomprehensible in that situation. We couldn't get a shot. Got to get a shot. We're down 2, and obviously we didn't need a 3. But, you know, with Emmanuel, we were struggling to score the entire second half. We got, you know, good looks. But Florida was doing a good job running us off the line and forcing us to score it. But we just didn't do a very good job of finishing some shots. You know, guys that's been in the paint, scoring all year. You know, OJ's developed a really good runner, floater. I didn't go very much tonight. Milos. But, you know, give Florida credit, too. You know, I'm not going to sit up here and poor mouth and pity mouth us. You know, we held that team to 65 points. You know, Clayton and Martin combined to go 5 for 20. If you had told me we'd hold those 2 guys to 5 for 20, and we had a good plan. We just didn't score it well enough to win. We scored it well enough to be in a position to win. But you know, it comes down to those. At the end, you got to get a shot. That's you got to do better than that.
Well, I got to tell you, he is right. But the play he ran at the end wasn't as bad as people are making it out to be. He was one shot fake away. If you go back, we can't show it because of all the copyright laws and things of that nature. But Calvin Sampson, I'll give him credit where it's due. He ran a number of actions, all a little bit sloppy, but still. If the sharp kid shot fakes like you're taught to do, he's going to have a wide open look for a national championship. I mean, go back and look at it. You know, this is where I think media is really stupid. This is where media is always stupid. They're going, well, you can't get a shot. That's an easy thing to say. Sure it is. And that's on Calvin Sampson. Of course it is in this day and age of media stupidity. We didn't get a shot. That's Calvin Sampson. In fact, Calvin Sampson's lucky that he is become some kind of curmudgeonly beloved coach. Because if he were John Shire, he'd be getting crushed right now. If he were a younger coach, he would be getting destroyed right now. But he's an older guy, been through a lot, and everybody likes his story. It's all self-created, of course, because he's a cheat. But Calvin Sampson was one shot fake away. Whatever you want to think of that play, and I'm not saying it was the greatest, but I am saying that he was a shot fake. Lift, take a dribble, step in. You're going to have a 3, make it or miss it. Didn't matter. Well, it mattered a little. But you get my point, and you're not going to hear anybody say that all day. You will not hear anybody smart enough to say that all day. And you know what? That's because people don't understand ball. Not even a little bit. I mean, I don't think I can do it or I'll get in trouble, but I wish I could hold this up and show you the last play. Because what you're going to hear is, oh, man, oh, geez, Calvin Sampson couldn't get him a shot. Calvin Sampson, one shot fake from a wide open look, make it or miss it. Not one single person would say a single word. Nothing. 0. Zip. But the kid didn't shot fake. The kid did not shot fake. And if you don't shot fake late in that situation, you know what? Guess what? What can I tell you? You're going to go up and get it blocked. You're going to go up, drop it down. Whatever you're going to do, you're going to do. And that is not on the coach. That is not on the coach. You know what I mean? That is on the player. I mean, at some point, you can't wipe your ass for him. So I'm going to defend Sampson on this. Can't believe I'm doing it, but I'm doing it. You know, I get it. It's the easiest thing in the world to do. Oh, man, didn't get a shot. That's on the coach. He ran a bad play. Oh, man. No, he had a great look. All kid had to do was shot fake. That's it. Shot fake, I used to tell kids at basketball camp, shot fake gets the girls. Yeah, he shot fakes. He makes the 3. I don't know what's going to happen to him tonight, but it's going to be fun. Last night, but it's going to be fun. ESPN came up with with a list of impressions for Cooper Flagg, both past and present NBA players, based on Flagg's developing offensive skill, his versatility, and, of course, his overall great play. Guy can guard, too. Here are some of them. 1, Kawhi Leonard. Flagg's really good defensively and can be a game changer on that end pretty much immediately for his size. No, he can't. No, he can't. Not in the NBA. He ain't changing the game. IQ and effort. He's always been a very good defender. His offense is coming along. It's a very similar path to the one Kawhi Leonard was on early in his NBA career. A guy who had all those useful qualities and then entered as a real two-way force as he rounded out his game. Yeah, I must look at Flagg wrong. I see him bigger. But if he has the career Kawhi Leonard had, he'll go to Hall of Fame. Lamar Odom. Now, if he has the career Lamar Odom has, he'll end up in a chicken ranch on synthetic Viagra because of Kardashian, once again, screwed up someone's life. Just the ease and comfort level, handling the ball. That's true. On the perimeter. We talk about whether guys are inside guys who develop outside or perimeter guys who take their game down low. Flagg has had such comfort on the perimeter. Odom filled out and was a late growth spurt guy with ball skills. You love a guy who's 6'10", can play with the ability of being a 6'3" guard. You don't really. You think you do. You want to. Until that 6'10" guy just stays totally outside. A guy like Lamar Odom with his shoulders, he'd have been death in the mid-post. But everybody loves the 6'10" guy, as this scout said, with 6'3" guard skills. Lamar Odom was as wide as my house, as tall as my house, never went on the block. Had he developed an all-around game instead of trying to be a 6'10" guard, who knows? I hope in Flagg's case he develops that, because I don't think Lamar Odom is a bad comparison. Jason Tatum. There you go. Both of them at Duke presented really positively as guys that were going to have a couple of off-ramps to be super successful. True story, Mike and Mike, I was co-hosting with Greenberg, and I said best player in this draft is Jason Tatum, and it ain't close. I think he was the third pick. We're seeing that with Flagg recently. Had a poor shooting night against Alabama in the Elite Eight, and still was a super impactful player toward winning. They both had a really good feel offensively in a way that's just uncommon for their size and usage. I agree with that. Scottie Pippen. I say Scottie because he could have been a number one guy and was after Michael left, but he became by far the best number two. I think Cooper will be a hell of a number two, but he might need a top 10 player running mate with him. Well, who doesn't? I mean, seriously, who doesn't? I mean, everybody. He can obviously prove me wrong, but I don't see him as the number one guy in a championship team in his career. That's interesting. That's really interesting. I do, but like most or all NBA great players, he's got to develop his game. Yeah. Look, who is really a number one guy in a championship team? I mean, Luka Doncic could be, but he hasn't been. Obviously, LeBron is. I don't know. Steph was the number one guy, I suppose, but damn, he had some pretty good parts around him. Andre Karolinko led the NBA in blocks. I don't see Flagg doing that. Karolinko had the energy to expand more on the defensive side because he was a role player offensively. Karolinko doing 3 blocks a game at his peak as a non-center is incredible in an era where there weren't that many possessions, but you project Flagg to be much more meaningful on the offensive end. See, I've said this, and I could be damn wrong. Maybe I don't know. I don't know. But what I think is, I think Kevin Durant, I think he scores it easy. I think he's going to be one of those guys that, I mean, remember this. Let's just remember this. While all these guys are talking about his offense, dude did just drop 27 against what's supposed to be the best defensive team in America. And if you're listening to people before the national championship game, the best defensive team in the history of America, talking about Houston, dude did drop 27. So I know all these scouts are trying to out-scout one another. What do I mean by that? Well, they're trying to sound like they're bringing you something different. I'm a pretty simple guy. I watch him, and I see Kevin Durant. I mean, dude, I know his offense needs it. I didn't see any of these other guys dropping 27 last night. Vladimir Guerrero Jr., who I got to tell you, I couldn't pick out of a lineup. I don't know who he is. I know who he is, but I don't know. I can't recognize him. There's never been a time where I've said, hey, Let's go see the Toronto Blue Jays because they got Vladimir Guerrero Jr. He just signed a massive extension. Now, my boys Nick and Nick tell me that he's worth this, at least according to the market. Nobody's worth this, but hey, why not? He signed with the Blue Jays on a $14.5 million contract. So at OutKick, we're going to break down some of the biggest contracts in professional sport. No particular order, but here they are. All right, let's play Is He Worth It? Josh Allen, 6-year extension, $330 million. He just signed it. Is he worth it? Hell yeah. The NFL is the number one property we got going here in the United States. Now, is he totally worth it? I don't know. And been to the, well, he's won, but he hasn't been to the Super Bowl. He's going to have to get a Super Bowl to make this contract worth it, I think. But I also think that the hope he has given the city of Buffalo, he's been great in the community. He generates a lot of interest. He generates a lot of money, I'm sure. Yeah, what the hell. Shohei Ohtani, 10 years off free agency, $700 million deal, signed it 2 years ago. Man, I guess. I don't know. I guess. I mean, if you think a baseball player is worth $70 million a year, then sure. I mean, if you're going to pay somebody $70 million a year, yeah, I guess he is. He's the guy to do it. But I don't think anybody's worth $70 million a year. I know he brings the Japanese crazy-ass, insanely driven, insanely out there market into Major League Baseball, so I'm sure to Major League Baseball and the Dodgers this is a good deal, but damn. Jaylen Brown, 5-year Supermax deal. $60 million for Jaylen Brown? No. $63 million? Hell no. He won a championship, but a lot of guys in Boston have won a championship. I'll tell you this, I do like Jaylen Brown, though, a lot. I do. I think he's the perfect guy. You talk about number twos, man, that dude can really play. He seems like a great dude, a smart dude, so maybe I'm convincing myself. But I got to tell you, $60 million for a guy that nobody says, hey, I got to go see him play on the road. He won a championship, so I guess. Bradley Beal isn't worth the money this is printed on. Bradley Beal is the most overrated, ridiculous NBA player, never won anything, never done shit except score a lot of points. Bradley Beal, if Bradley Beal is worth 5 years, $250 million, I'm worth 5 years, $700 million. At least I try. Bradley Beal has effed up every team he's ever been on, and I don't give a damn. Seems like a nice kid. Liked him when he came out of Florida. Never understood why he went from St. Louis to Florida, but what are you going to do? A lot of basketball schools in between. But Bradley Beal, my ass. Dak Prescott, no. They've won regular season games. You're paying this guy $60 million a year to do what? Last year he got hurt. Hell no. No, you could have had a service of a quarterback, or you probably could have signed Dak Prescott to half of that. I don't care what the market said. No, Mike Trout, absolutely not. Mike Trout, no shot. No shot. Zero shot. Mike Trout, again, my ass, looks fat right there. Mike Trout hasn't done shit. And everybody tells me all the time, he's the greatest player in baseball. Yeah, I never get to see him. Never. He doesn't play. He's always hurt. When he does play, even with Ohtani and others, they don't win. Mike Trout, my ass. Honest to God, 12 years. Look at this number. I wouldn't pay Mike Trout my ass. Almost $40 million a year for that? For what? For what? Sit on your ass, wear your hat backwards, be a New Jersey guy, talk about, I live at home. Oh, shut up. Play baseball. Seriously. Play baseball. Damn. You know, old people suck, and I'm an old person. Old people that have sense don't suck, but old curmudgeon writers, old curmudgeon media guy, old curmudgeon coaches that snap at reporters and stuff like that, they suck. Bob Ryan, who at one point had relevance in the sports landscape here, he seemingly has lost his mind over this year. He took issue with Gino Auriemma leaving his starters in the national championship game for as long as he did, claiming he lived up to his reputation, adding that he never learns and that Dawn Staley will be filing this away. Yeah, you know what? Bob Ryan's never coached a game in his life. We're up, 28 points, under 8-minute timeout, on the road at Buffalo, which at the time was the worst Division I team maybe in the country. And we were in the top 30. We had to make 2 free throws to win the game. We were down at home my first year, 14 with a minute 13 to go. I'm going to say that again. Down 14 with a minute 13 to go. Came back and took the lead only for a guy. We only had 4 guys on the court because 2 guys were hurt and everybody else fouled out. Guy hit a half-court shot against us. Shut up, Bob Ryan. It's a national championship game. I'm keeping my starters in until the very, very end. Good. File it away. Great. You file that. I'll be celebrating my 12th national championship. Bob Ryan is just an old curmudgeon with really bad teeth. Yeah, I got personal there, but I don't care. He gets personal with everybody. Screw Bob Ryan. Here's what Bob Ryan had to say. Gino Auriemma lived up to his. He should have pulled his starters, the starting 5 with 4, maybe 3 minutes to go up 32, but no, like it on. He never learned. You're damn right he never learns. You're damn right. He never learns. And he hope he doesn't learn. Who's he supposed to learn for, Bob Ryan? He never learns. What that signifies, it's like the guy that says, well, he gets it. That means you understand something at some exponential level that we're all trying to aspire to. Bob Ryan, screw you. Keep your starters in until the game is over. That's why they're starters. What? Some guy gets 2 minutes of playing time? Who cares? Some girl? Bob Ryan's an idiot. No, it's a stain on his unrivaled legacy and one Gino should be proud of. You know, Dawn is filing this away. Oh, shut up. Filing it away for what? I'm filing it away. Yeah, for what? I always told coaches in meetings, don't get mad at me for what I do. And I don't care what you do with your team. Keep your team in, keep your team out. I don't care. Doesn't matter to me. Who cares? Why would I care? Bob Ryan's an idiot. Every once in a while, these guys show they never stepped inside the lines, no matter how long they've been writing bullshit, no matter how long ESPN has strung their ass along, no matter how bad their takes are. Shit. Keep your starters in until you feel comfortable because, frankly, Gino Auriemma owed it to his players to make damn sure that he did nothing to screw the game up, whether it was up 32 or down 10. That's it. Bob Ryan. Stop it. I love this. Members of the Oklahoma Sooner softball team have a new fan, me. I'm not big on Patty Gasso, the coach. She wouldn't come on my morning show when I was doing it on Sirius XM radio. My wife doesn't really know her, but members of the Oklahoma Sooner softball team attended Riley Gaines, a Riley Gaines event on campus on transgender athletes in women's sports. Patty Gasso answered reporters in the right manner instead of stirring the pot like other coaches would. Here is the best coach in the history of softball, not named Lee Ross, talking about her players. 2 players going to an event with Riley Gaines. How idiotic is this is even a conversation? But here's Patty Gasso.
Coach, several members of the team attended Riley Gaines' speech earlier this week. She spoke highly of you and then spoke exclusively to the team after that event. Thoughts on her comments and the team's presence at that event?
I did not hear comments, so I can't comment on something I didn't hear, but the fact that our team is there, it's their right, whether they want to go or not. So I support them in whatever they choose.
Hey, little douchebag, I love the fact that Riley Gaines is on my campus. I support her fight for women, and that's it. Shut the fuck up, little douchebag reporter. When did guys start talking like that? We need more inner city guys. We need more guys from like Gary or Chicago to talk like this. Hey, man, I'm instead of, hi, guys. Oh, shut up. Yeah, that's personal. Man. Oh, boy, the Dodgers visited the White House. Everybody's losing their mind. Oh, my God. Here are some of the highlights. Clayton Kershaw. Yeah, we need more guys with sack. These little report. Riley Gaines your players attended something with Riley Gaines. Yeah, good. Hey, look, here's the deal. You got a dick? Yeah. Stay out of a women's locker room. Simple. Here's Clayton Kershaw giving Trump a custom 47 jersey.
Mr. President, we have a gift for you as well.
Oh, I like that. Wow. Ooh, I like that. Come on, Mark.
Oh, they're going to move
There you go. Here's Trump talking about liberal senators in attendance.
Congratulations, Brian. And others. We have a couple of senators here. I just don't particularly like them, so I won't introduce. Over the course of this amazing season, the members of this team. I didn't think it was that big a deal, actually. It's Washington. Over the course of this amazing season, the members of this team gave us some of the most incredible.
I love it. The guy on the left was trying hard. He knew he was on TV. He's so proud to be there with the president, but I don't want to acknowledge that the president was actually funny. Oh, my God.